Welcome to Imperfect Momming. Our children are constantly looking to us for examples. The term role model doesn't quite cut it here. We are shaping their worldview with every move we make. You see, it's not in the lectures we give or moments where we are actively attempting to teach them. It's in the micro movements we make, the unconscious ways in which we navigate life. We are constantly teaching our children how to show up for themselves, their friends, their future partners, and even their future children. So what can we do to ensure we are raising thoughtful, compassionate, self-aware human beings? We have to become them ourselves. No one is perfect, but we can still all be better, and it starts with self-healing. Let's get to it. Welcome and good morning. Happy Monday and happy Mom Hour. And if you're listening on the podcast, welcome to Imperfect Momming. I'm excited today because we're going to talk about recharging our batteries, why it's important, and we're going to even help brainstorm some ways for you to come up with your own recharging batteries. And before we do that, I want to introduce this amazing woman she's on my left on my screen, but Melanie Soloway is this person that I've been talking about, who's the parent educator, and I've been, dropping hints that she's coming on board. And so here she is. We are, I'm going to have you introduce yourself and tell people who you are, but I have to say, we are on season 5 of Imperfect Momming podcast.
Wow.
Each season has been 6 months is what I've been calling a season. And so we are on, I've been podcasting for 2 years. I've had my podcast for 2 years. Super excited about that. I just popped in my head.
Wow.
That this is season 5, episode 1. Yay!
All right.
Tell us who you are and what you do.
Okay, so Alicia, I did not know that this was season 5, episode 1 that we're launching. And I just want to, if it's okay with you, I'd like to just pause for a moment, because this past Saturday, you and I did Celebration Saturday. Yeah. And what we are going to be doing going forward is actually celebrating every Saturday, because as we know that every Saturday at 7 Pacific time. So wherever any of you are tuning in from, or listening on the podcast, if you want to join us, we'll be starting actually on July the 15th, Saturday, July the 15th at 7 a.m. Pacific time. We're going to be doing Celebration Saturdays. And I think this is worthy right now of being a celebration for us. It's a way that we recharge our batteries, right? When we celebrate and recognize what we do in our lives that make us feel good. So when you said that, I was like, well, I can't miss this opportunity to bring that up and really take this opportunity to really celebrate you for wow. And so congratulations, my love. That's awesome. And I feel so honored to be here launching episode 1 of season 5 with you. Woo! Yes, because as you know, one of the things that kind of stopped me in my tracks doing what I was doing as a parent educator was when COVID came, and we got into this world of technology, and it was sort of just a hard stop for me because I didn't feel comfortable with technology. I really was a technophobe, and seriously, you guys, I was kind of anti-technology, and I was doing a lot of parent groups, parent education, running groups, running workshops, running my 5-week courses live. Everything was live. I live in Los Angeles, and I was going into the schools here and doing everything with parents in person, and technology was a block for me. And so it's super exciting to be in a place now where and this morning's podcast is not about setting aside limiting beliefs, but how I have transformed my limiting beliefs around technology, and not only am I no longer, I mean, I'm still technologically incompetent to a degree. There's still a lot of things that I don't know how to do, but there's a lot of things that I do know how to do, including zooming into this Zoom call with you and going live on a podcast.
Right.
Who am I?
You're on Zoom, you're on a podcast, and you're live on Facebook all at the same time. And I mean, what, a year ago, that was just not even possible for you.
Not even a thought, let alone not possible. Like, honestly, you guys, not even a thought. And fear would have been something that would have absolutely, it wasn't something that would have been, it was something that absolutely blocked my belief system in what was possible. So we'll I know we'll be delving more into that. But okay, back to introducing myself, because we were doing Celebration Saturday, not Celebration Saturday. We were talking about Celebration Saturday, celebrating you on this, on this morning. And then just to introduce myself, as I mentioned, so I'm a mom of 3 kids. I have twins that are going to be 21 in October. I started when I started having, I must have been around 10, 8, 7. When did I start having kids? Like that, my kids are almost 21. Like, what? Just kidding. Yeah, like that's just crazy to me. And then I have a 17-year-old. My motherhood journey, I also got a divorce when my kids, the twins, were 13 and my youngest was 9 going on 10. And it's been a journey. The divorce, I then became a target of parental alienation, and it's been a journey, to say the least. And I think, as you know, Alicia, the way that I met you was because I was doing, I had done the parent educator, I'd been doing the parent education piece and the tools for a long, long time. But this past year has really been about me truly recharging my battery, truly focusing in back on who I am, refinding myself, doing the things I've needed to do to really, truly emerge as the woman, as the person, beyond just the mother that I am, right? And there was a lot of releasing of the guilt. And I know you read me something that you read to a mom that came to you for support, and I absolutely loved it. So I'm going to launch it back to you to share, and then let's talk about that, if that's okay.
Absolutely. So we will be talking more about our identity as parents, as moms specifically. I don't know that dads, I guess dads do go through it too. I'm not a dad, so I always just talk about moms. The losing of the identity when you become a mom is so huge. And we're going to talk about that at a later time too, because I know that we have lots to say on that topic too. But I ran across this image on Facebook, and I saved it to my phone and I sent it to a friend of mine because of the recharging the batteries thing. And we had, Melanie and I had a really interesting conversation about it, and my friend and I had an interesting conversation about it. So it says, when a flashlight grows dim or quits working, you don't throw it away, you change the batteries. When a person messes up and finds themselves in a dark place, do you cast them aside? Of course not. You help them change their batteries. Some need AA, attention and affection. Some need AAA, attention, affection, and acceptance. Some need C, compassion. Some need D, direction. And if they still don't seem to shine, simply sit with them quietly and share your light. And when I sent that to my friend, I knew that her batteries were dim, and that's why I sent it to her as a reminder that she needs to change her batteries, or that she would benefit from a battery change, to use less triggering language. And she asked me, how do I recharge my batteries? And I think that that's a question that a lot of moms have, is like, we know we're supposed to do self-care. We know we're supposed to pour from the overflow or to fill our cup and all of that kind of fun stuff. We know those things, but I don't think that a lot of us know how to get there. And those of us that do, that's not how we started out trying to figure out how to get there. Like, I have been a single mom since my son was a year old. And I remember in the first probably 6 months, I was super crazy depressed. And I had a moment where I was like, I don't want to be a mom anymore, because the way that I'd been programmed is we have to change the external situation in order to find peace, in order to find happiness. Like, the external needs to shift in order to have something. And my friend was so brilliant that she didn't even realize what she was doing. And she said, I have a friend that will take him. If you really don't want to be a mom anymore, I have a friend that'll take him. And that like forced me to put my money where my mouth was. And I was like, and I asked, like, what do I actually need? Because I didn't want to not be a mom. I just knew that I needed something and I didn't know what it was. And it was so clear to me in that moment, I need a break. And my breaks have evolved as I've evolved, as my son's evolved, as his needs have changed, as my needs have changed. My breaks have changed, where I went from like a week every 3 months was what I needed. And then it was during COVID, I think, or when school started, it was like, well, I need a day, or I need a couple of hours in the morning. And like, I go back and forth depending on what my schedule is like. And I'll let you chime in because I know you got some stuff.
So thanks, Alish. Yeah. And actually, I know working with moms and dads over, almost the past, it's been at least over 15 years, right? I say 2 decades because I started my first business in 2004 as a parent educator. And I can't believe we're coming up on 2024, but there've been breaks because of COVID and then because of what happened, with my divorce situation. And I think what ends up happening is a lot of the time we don't take the breaks, so we don't recharge our batteries because we actually feel guilty. I know your all the work that you've done, or much of the work that you've done in the parenting realm, has been around guilt, and you've helped me with mine. And I was in a situation where, despite having all of these tools and all of the things that I knew, like I knew how to, I knew I would teach that in my parents, in my very first, in my 5-week courses, in the very first class, I would teach every single class, like how important it is, like to put our oxygen masks on ourselves. And I would teach, well, what did that mean? And for a lot of us, that means yoga, that means going for a run, that means, sitting meditation. That means a lot of what you're saying is absolutely tools that are really useful and helpful. For some of us, that might mean cleaning the house. For some of that might mean, there's so many different things depending on who we are to take that break. But what I didn't realize, because of things that it's circumstances, which, I'm not going to go into the details here, but I had sacrificed myself as a person, as a mom. I had become what I would refer to as the mother martyr. My children, my son was my central focus. He became everything, all important. For the 50% of the time he was with me, I was there 100% of the time. And I didn't really realize that it wasn't only not beneficial for him, but it was certainly not beneficial for me. And by the time I crawled onto the campus where I met you last March, on our campus where I met Sean Smith, who's our coach. And then the other coach that I work with is Lisa Nichols. And when you said you had your I'm just going to say your come to Jesus moment, but even
Yeah.
though I'm Jewish, but like I call it the come to Jesus moment, right? Of like, okay, well, Lisa says the tongue in your shoe and the tongue in your mouth, like you had to align the tongue in the shoe with the tongue in your mouth. And you had that moment where your friend said to you, like, you know what, you saying you don't want to be a mom anymore because you're so depressed. Here, I'll take your kid off your hands. And you were like, whoa, like, do I really not want to be a mom anymore? And you had to make that decision, right? That was a choice point for you. And for me, my choice point came last March in a way, because I had made the decision as a mom. My son was really, really, really struggling. And I made the decision to send him to a residential treatment program. And it was so hard for me because that was not what I wanted as a mom. That wasn't what I wanted for me, but I made the choice because I knew I wasn't able to do for him anymore. I wasn't able to do for him what needed to happen. And so that was very difficult. And so when I came onto the campus where I met you, the way I recharged my battery was by finding support systems and listening to the signs that came to me. It wasn't even that I found them. It was that signs came to me from the universe. Things were delivered to me, and I followed that intuitive sign. And what I'm realizing as you read that beautiful piece this morning, what I did was I found my community so that I could just sit next to people and borrow their light. My light at that point was so dim. My flicker, like, you see a flame and you see, and it's like the things that, like, it's so like you just light the candle and you're waiting for it. It was like, I didn't even think there was a light when you know what I mean? Yeah. Maybe there wasn't a light. Maybe I needed to sit next to people and have them reignite my light. But sometimes that is what recharging our battery looks like, is finding the support system. Because when we're in isolation, when we're alone, and as you know, I had put myself, I was so ashamed that I wasn't able to be the one that could rescue my son, that I couldn't find the answers, that I hadn't protected my kids, right? Because of this, what had happened through the divorce alienation and in the system and blah, 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 that my guilt and my shame were dimming my light. They were suffocating my light. And so finding my support system actually was what I needed, was to sit next to, and it's actually metaphorical, I guess, right? That I'm sitting here on a beach next to you, with the sun shining, and it's virtual, and we're at the same beach, despite the fact we're now about 6 hours away from each other, because I'm up in the mountains and there's no ocean anywhere near me, and you're in Fresno and there's no ocean anywhere near you. But here we are sitting next to each other in this support system. And you have been a huge part of the, you personally have been one of the igniters for my light, right? And inside of this community that we're in, which is part of why you and I are aligning and joining forces to provide this community, to be here for other moms. And it could be that you have a toddler and a baby, or just a baby, and you need some tools. Or it could be that you're in a position like me, where I have, grown kids, adults, and an almost adult, and need that support. Or where you are, Elish, with your 11-year-old, and you need that support. And it all looks different for all of us. So that's really the key for me.
Yeah. And thank you for all of that. And I had just written a blog when I was at your house. So this is whose house I was staying at for for a week, that I felt like when I left your house, I don't know if I said this to you, I know I said it live, but when I left your house, I felt like I'd been on a 5-day retreat for my soul. It was so much fun hanging out with you. And when I woke up one morning and I heard a voice, and it said, just be you. And I have a little bit of a trigger around the word just, because of conversations I've had with my brother, and people would always tell him to just go do XYZ, whatever it was, just go do this. And it's like, just be yourself. Well, we've been taught how to not be ourselves for so long. Like, we're born knowing how to be ourselves. And I mean, 2-year-olds, they don't get their way, and they're being themselves to get their way. Like, and our well-meaning parents come along, or well-meaning adults come along, and they say, shh, and stop, and be quiet, and that's not how you behave, or whatever we do. And we start learning, like, oh, expressing myself isn't okay, and telling people what I want isn't okay, and doing this or doing that isn't okay. And we start putting on these layers of what is and isn't okay. And then we're adults, and we have to do something that's scary to us, and someone just comes along and says, just be you. It's like, I don't know who I am anymore after 15, 20 years of people telling me, don't be this way, don't be you, don't express this, don't express that. It's like, you don't know. And so it becomes our job throughout the rest of our life to remember who we are, and to understand, like, what it is that recharges our batteries. And I a lot of times in my coaching, I'll ask people, what did you do before you were a mom to recharge your batteries? And some people have an answer. Or what did you do for fun? Some people have an answer, some people don't. But if you don't have an answer to what did you do before you were a mom for fun, then ask other people, what do you do? And try it out, and see how that works, and find your community. Like Melanie said, like, we need a community of moms. We need a community of other people that are in alignment with us, that can help us recharge our batteries, replace our batteries, whatever the case may be.
So can I jump in, Elish?
Absolutely.
Perfect. Thank you, my love. So one of the things you said was, well-meaning adults come along.
Mm.
Well-meaning adults come along to teach us. And a 2-year-old knows what they need to get, or knows how to get their needs met, because they haven't been untrained. They haven't learned how to not be themselves. They want something, they're going to scream. They want something, they're going to tantrum, right? And then, like what you said, the well-meaning adults. And what I would say is, yes, most often it is well-meaning adults, but far more than a well-meaning adult, it's also another programmed adult.
Yeah.
So we get programmed, and then our programmers, the programming is so deeply wired that it's just getting passed along.
Yeah.
And so we're doing the same thing as moms, and I would say as parents, and I would say as anybody who's raising a child or influencing a child, whether it be a sport coach or someone who's a counselor at a camp, or someone who's, like, we're just passing along our programming. And then what we teach our children, right? We teach our children how to mold themselves and fit into these societal expectations and regulations in a way that is, and it comes from different sources. And so it can even be confusing to us, because in one environment we're told, to be quiet and shh. And in another environment, we're told, well, do you have any questions? And then we're like, well, should I speak, or can I ask a question? Or do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's even like inside of our, and it's not conscious.
Yeah.
A lot of times we're not even conscious of these things. And so I love one of the things I love about what you said is, what did you do to have fun even before you became, and I'm going to switch the word from mom to parent, because I've also worked with a lot of dads, and I know we're going to be working under the umbrella of raising enlightened children. And you said you're a mom, so you know it from the perspective of moms, but even our coach, Sean, who was on your podcast that I listened to, the podcast episode you did with him, and he was talking about creativity. But one of the things he said, maybe especially as moms, is for us to not judge each other and not judge ourselves. And that's really easy to say.
Right.
Right. Like that's, yeah, sure. Just don't, I mean, and that's not what he was saying. He wasn't saying, don't judge. What he was saying, if I'm remembering correctly, is how important it is, though, to come together as community. And one of the things on that campus that I've learned is something that was said to me is, all of you is welcome here. Mm-hmm. All of you is welcome here. Because when we can show up in our authenticity, all of us is welcome. We can show everything. We can show our struggle. We don't have to be like what we, who people have come to be programmed to believe that they need to be, even on social media. I think that was one of the reasons why I was so turned off by social media, is everything was so pretty and everything was so beautiful and everything was so wonderful. And I'm like, okay, well, that's not what my life looks like right now. So not only do I not want to be sharing, I don't even want, like, the more I'm seeing how everything else is so wonderful in everybody else's life, I like, oh my God, what's wrong with me? Right? And so being in communities now where I can show up and be my authentic self and say where I'm struggling as well as where I'm celebrating, say where I'm having a hard time as well as where things are easier for me. Right? I can now learn from the people that are next to me. I can borrow their light. And like sometimes, like, someone is doing something. A friend of mine was telling me that she's doing tribal dancing. Well, I've never gone tribal dancing to have fun. And I'm like, sign me up. Sign me up. I want to go tribal dancing. I think that would be really fun. Right? Like, and being in communities now where people are doing different things that maybe what I would have done in my small little bubble, where before I had joined virtual and expanded my circle, maybe I wouldn't have had the opportunity to meet somebody who was going tribal dancing and that I could go tribal dancing with. Or there's drum circles on the beach, or there's, right? Like just really like these fun things that I hadn't thought of or hadn't done, and then there's like the regular stuff that I know what works for me: going on hikes, going to yoga, doing meditation was not something that I did before 2017. It was from one of those signs that came from the universe, and then I ended up veering into meditation. So anyway, I've kind of lost track of what I was saying. I'm kind of just like rambling, so take it away, my love.
Yeah, no, you made a lot of really good points, and I'd love to go down each of them, and we don't have time for that. But that was another thing. The last thing that you said that I feel like was a really good point is to try different things in general, which I think I said, but like you went, like took your community and went along and like heard somebody from your community say, hey, I'm doing this. And you're like, oh my gosh, that's awesome. And I started laughing when you said the drum circle on the beach, because when I went to your house and I showed up on June 21st, which is the summer solstice, and you asked me in the morning, do you want to come to a summer solstice? I think it was a sound bath, you said, and meditation. I was like, I don't know what that is, but that's a hard no for me.
You didn't say that out loud.
I didn't say it out loud, but my body was like, yeah, no, I'm good. But have fun with that. No, but I went because I didn't say it out loud. And so we ended up going, and it was a really cool experience, and nothing like what I didn't even have a concept of what a sound bath was, but it wasn't even in my realm of like I know what that is. And so I can even say I don't like it, or it was just like, there's a piece of me that used to be a no to anything new. And sometimes I fall back into that pattern. And so, if that's you, like, we can't expect our life to change if we don't do different things. And so you got to do something different if you want something different. Period. End of story. Like, end of podcast. That we're done.
Can I say one more thing about
You
that?
can.
Like, that is actually also part of our brain wiring.
Right.
Part of our brain wiring is that we are wired to be comfortable with what's familiar.
Right.
Right. And it's literally, it's our brains are wired, even if something is bad and we know that it's bad. Like, some people are in, and hope I'm not taking this too much off in another direction, but some people are in a bad relationship. I was in a bad relationship, right? But it was familiar to me. I knew what the bad was. And so it's almost more scary, because our brains know, if this is the bad, I know how to protect you from this bad. I know what to tell you to do. I know how to, so when we go into the unfamiliar, it's very common for people to say, no, I'm not going to do that. No, I don't want to try that. No, I don't want to, because that's scary to the brain. That the brain is like, oh, we don't know that. And the brain is literally just doing its job. I call that the ego part of the brain, just doing its job to try and protect us. And what you did that day, where your brain said no, fortunately, your mouth didn't mouth the no. You then drove.
My programming wouldn't allow me to say a straight up no.
That is hilarious. I didn't hear the no, because we were literally just on the phone when I offered it. She drove 4 hours to my house. She showed up, and I could tell, like, she was tired, and she was like, I don't know, like, and I said, she's like, it's up to you. I'm like, okay, let's go. I know, because I'm like, I know it's going to be fun. And I'm one of those people that I do yes a lot. Like, I do, like, yes, sign me up. Yes, I want to try that. Yes, not when it came to technology, but with other stuff. But yes, I'm even here doing this. Yes. But anyhow, so that was one way that Alicia, like I said, I sat next to Alicia, and she's helped me, like, go back to where we started today, right? Like, she's helped me light my light, but then she sat next to me, and I'm helping her light her light. And so it's it goes both ways when you get into a symbiotic type of relationship or symbiotic type of community. And so I think that this is hilarious that because I know how much we both loved it and how much we both ended up getting out of it. And it was spectacular. We watched the sun set on the summer solstice. Seals literally came up onto the beach. We watched seals. We got a fortune cookie from somebody who made fortune cookies as we sat in our circle. We did a meditation. We read cards. Like, it was fabulous, and it was fun. And we did it with a friend. And that's the kind of thing that can absolutely recharge our batteries. So yes, go back to the tried and the true. Go back to the things that work for you, like whether it's hiking, whether it's yoga, whether it's meditation, whether it's going for a run, whether it's cleaning the house, whether it's, whatever it is. And my invitation here is to be open to exploring something new, whether it's just, take yourself on a date, go to a coffee shop in your neighborhood you haven't been to before, if you like coffee or tea, take a drive somewhere where you haven't been to before, bring your journal with you. I mean, these don't have to be,
Costly
these
or huge.
long.
I said costly or time intensive or
Exactly.
huge leaps. Like, it can be something so very simple. And it's just like, ask yourself, what do I need in this moment? What do I need? And sometimes the answer is going to be, I need 3 days away from the kids. And that might not be feasible. But would 15 minutes away from the kids or 5 minutes away from the kids give you a start? Probably. So start there. wake up 5 minutes early, stay up 5 minutes later. Not everybody's a morning person. I love the morning, but not everybody's a morning person. Start baby steps. Like, it doesn't have to be this grand, like, thing where we're just reset like where people start a diet on January 1st and they're like, I'm not doing sugar or gluten and I'm exercising 87 times a week, and like that's why they all fail, because we try to take on too much too fast. So pick one thing, do it for a week and see how it feels. And if it doesn't feel right, you got to give it more than once, right? Like, a lot of times you got to give it more than once. Sometimes we're going to try one thing, we're going to drink a cup of coffee without any sugar in it, and it's going to be like, that's gross, right? But like, for certain things, give it more than once. Try more than once. Give it a week. Build it into a habit. Give it 21 days, whatever. Like, set a set amount of time. I'm going to try this for 7 days, and then reassess. How does it feel? How do I feel? How did I feel doing it? And if it didn't do what you wanted it to do, recharge your batteries, or it didn't start doing that, try something else. So we are starting July 15th, Saturday celebrations. I believe right around the same time, stay tuned, we're going to be doing community for the soul. I believe that's on Tuesdays. We're going to do free community coaching on Fridays. There will be Facebook events inside our Facebook group, which the name has changed, in case you hadn't noticed, or if you didn't know because you're listening on the podcast. The group is called Raising Enlightened Children. And we're going to be doing lots of stuff coming up. I want you to represents the what was it called, a workshop on August 12th, I believe, at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. You all are invited to do that. Go ahead.
I'm going to jump in on that one. So you guys, the workshop that's on August the 12th, we're going to be doing, Alicia and I are going to be doing a workshop on August the 12th together, as she said, and it's called Calm the Chaos. And it's really about, the chaos, whether it's, your toddler tantruming or your teen giving you attitude, or it's this inner child chaos that you're feeling where, you just need a break. And the content of that workshop is going to be about how our brains work and about how we bring more peace, which is Alicia's acronym. And we're going to unpack what the word, peace. We're gonna unpack that, and that would even be a way. It's going to be a way for us to learn, to have some more awareness. And so, Alicia, on the, when you said pick something and just do it, every day for a week, or just do 5 minutes, I'm even going to take it one step further, guys, and say do contrary action. Do something you might not otherwise have done. Maybe it's just literally phoning a friend. Maybe it's just picking up and phoning somebody you might not normally have phoned. And my invitation is to just be real and say, you know what, I'm just feeling really overwhelmed right now. I need a break. I need to recharge my battery. And more often than not, you will be amazed that when we do that, the person on the other end of the line is like, oh my God, me too. And maybe the two of you will figure out to sit down and do a Zoom call together and have it be a 30-minute conversation where you can just speak to each other, where you can just listen to each other. You can just hear what's going on. Sometimes just that simple, that connection, like maybe not to a community, but just to a friend, that's part of community, right? Yeah. That's part of us. So I just wanted to invite that, as it can be that simple.
Yeah. And it can be, like another idea that just popped into my head. I saw this on Facebook, and I used to a friend of mine used to suggest doing it too, is do a kid swap. So you take my kids for an hour and I'll take your kids for an hour, or whatever amount of time that you need. And it really builds your community, and it gives you some free babysitting. And it's like, there's so many benefits of the kid swap. And so that was another idea that just popped into my head that I wanted to share. So any final thoughts before we sign off and say goodbye?
I don't know how much time we have, because I can share something about the kid swap if we have.
Do you have a 2-minute version of the kid swap?
Yeah. So my business partner, who I started Empowered Parenting with, we both had twins, and her twins were 2 at the time. Mine were like 5 months, and she was doing that she had 2 other friends, and they all had twins. And so 2 of the women would take the 6 kids, and the one woman would have, or they would like do it where one of them would watch the 6 kids and 2 of them would go do something together. And they literally did this like swapping thing, and they built in that self-care time that was huge. And so that was something that I learned actually from doing as well as when my kids were younger, and it was huge. It was really, really powerful. So thank you for bringing that up and sharing that with our community here.
Yeah, what a great idea. I'm going to have to share that with the mom of the twins, so that because who knows what she's doing right now. The babies are 6 months old, and so, and she's a single mom too. Like I commend her for that choice. So
hopefully she's found her twin groups. You know that there are mom groups that are twin, and not just moms, parents groups that are twin groups. We could let's save this for the next time, because there's even things that you can do, like with your, if you do have a spouse, where your spouse and you switch off. And come to those agreements. So, I mean, there's just so many ways to do this
So we'll let you know when we have our first community for the soul, and when we have our first community coaching. Keep your eyes and ears open for our workshop on the 12th of August, and submit some questions. If you have questions, you can DM either one of us, and you can send.
At this point, I'm going to say DM Alicia, because I'm still learning. I'm still coming on board with the tech.
Yes, and Facebook doesn't always make it easy with the DMs, because it goes to another folder, and it's just, anyway. So you can you can also,
my ears, you guys, if anyone's just listening, as I'm just joking, I'm teasing.
You can email me. My email's on my website. The website is in the show notes of the episode, and we're literally here. We're dedicating our time, our life, and our business to helping make parenting a little more enjoyable, a little more peaceful. There we go. That's the word I want to use. All right, we'll see you. There'll be another episode of Imperfect Momming for you all on Thursday, and we'll be back next week for Mom Happy Hour. So until
beautiful
then.
To meet you all. Thanks, Alicia. Thanks for inviting me to be a part of this, and I'm excited to be continuing going forward with you guys. Yay! Season 5, episode 1. Season 5, here we come. And I will not be on the podcast next Monday, and I'll tell you the Monday after why I won't, because I'm volunteering at a teen camp, and so I'm going to tell you more about that for those of you who have teenagers for next year and other things that are available on that.
I won't be here next Monday either. I might have to do it on Sunday or something, because I'm going to be a camp counselor too. Thank you for the reminder. So we'll figure something out. I'll post it in the group, but there will be another live, another Mom Happy Hour. So, because we got to keep our moms happy, right?
That's right. We got to have happy hour for sure. My goodness, we need this. Woo!
Right.
Yes.
So until we meet again, whenever that is, keep healing. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Thank you for tuning in to Imperfect Momming. It's time for us to step up and realize that our power is not in trying to shape our children. Our power lies in shaping ourselves into the people we want our children to model themselves after. Don't just do it for your kids, do it for yourself. When you become a more self-aware, compassionate, and confident person, you and everyone around you benefit. For more information about me and my work, visit AlysiaLyons.com. That's AlysiaLyons.com. See you next time.